Aloha and welcome to Challenge Accepted, a podcast where we challenge each other back and forth to a new movie or show. And tonight we are doing the final reacts for Frank. Take it away.
We are going to be talking about Ironheart, the final three episodes. We get to meet some really big characters. If you're not ready for spoilers, why are you listening to us? This is your last chance to change the channel, but come on back. And while you're doing all that, press 5 stars. What did you think about these final three episodes?
Let's see. It started off all right. Um, it was a really big change into magic for me, so it was a little hard. Like I gotta say, the more I thought about it, and the more I looked at episode three, We and Danger Girl, like I kind of enjoyed
Yeah,
that one. And then this one goes like heavy into magic right away. And it was like, whoa, are we in?
big shift.
What is the? Well, yeah, what was the Agatha?
Agatha,
I was like, are we in
right.
Agatha all of a sudden? Right?
hmm
That was a kind of a
hmm
big change. And then it took me an episode to like recalibrate into episode five, and then episode six was like, oh man, this is awesome. But yeah, didn't particularly like episode four. I will say that.
I agree with you. I think the episode 6 was a highlight. I think episode 5 was quite good, especially for Anthony Ramos. Um,
Hmm.
with some of the newer things that we got in this, with magic being introduced, I think
Hmm.
one of the big moments of contention, but also might be something that like, oh hey, the MCU's trying new things like they did with Shang-Chi. What do you think about Ironheart being attached to magic so much?
Uh, it's not bad. Like, honestly, it reminds me a lot of the video game Marvel Midnight Suns. Like
Okay.
in that game, all the heroes are imbued with some type of magic, or you
Yeah.
can be at least. So I'm like, all right, this is cool. And even the runes and everything.
hmm
I know we've seen it in WandaVision. I know we've seen it in Agatha, but this to me felt like the most like that video game.
I
Just
need
the
to
way,
play it.
like at the
Damn.
end in episode six. What's that?
I said I need to play it. Every time you talk about it, it gets me like I need to play. I literally have
It's
bought it
so
already. I
good.
just gotta play it. Yeah.
It is honestly so good. Like at first I was like, man, did I just waste all this money? And by the end of it, I was like, why are people not playing this
Yeah.
game? Like
Oh, I
it's so
feel that.
freaking good. But yeah, so like that part of it reminded me of it. But yeah, I don't mind it, but it does kind of feel a little off. I feel like towards the end. But we'll get in there. Do you kind of remember a little bit of what happens in episode four? Before we kind of like, I don't want to
Yeah.
dive too far in case, somebody's like, wait, save all the good stuff for
Right.
episode six.
So right when you get into it, we get to, I really think a really important part of this series, and one of the reasons I would suggest it to the people is we're seeing Riri struggle with some mental health issues, mental
Hmm.
strain. She feels like protecting her family and friends is all on her shoulders 100%. And in so doing, she's pushing people away.
Mm-hmm.
And I really love this moment where like she's in the suit and her friend Natalie, the AI, is telling her like, hey, you got to breathe. I'm gonna open some fresh air. She's like, just get me out of the
Hmm.
suit. And like that moment where you're just like, I need to kind of like breathe. We've all felt that at some, to one degree or another. And I liked how
Yeah.
Natalie was like, I gotta go get my brother. It's kind of hard to kind of say these things. It's not quite right, but you know what I'm saying. I gotta go get my brother.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like that so quickly went from like, oh, a really cool moment where like this is a good moment for Ironheart for Riri to show mental health and stuff like that, but also showed the ramifications when not handled properly and immediately blew up around her and she lost everybody in one moment. So I thought it was like that's a really good balance to where like mental health and also like the unchecked side of it too. I thought it was a good depiction of it.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Yeah. I agree with you. I think it was really great. Yeah, it's cool how Natalie was trying to help around that place where it's like
Yeah.
your brain really knows what you need, but sometimes
Mhm.
you can't stop yourself from doing certain things that you
Yes.
shouldn't do, but yeah, or your brain, but you're also like really your brain also knows like you shouldn't be doing this. So yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
a cool kind of metaphor for yeah, mental health. I would agree with you on that as well.
Natalie
Um,
almost kind of
but
is that part of her brain that's like, I know I should be getting through this better. Like, one of the techniques that I personally practice, like if you're kind of stressing out a little bit too much, is that gosh, I forget the exact name for it, but
was
like,
like four
all
four
right,
seven.
I think that might be it, where you like touch something and you're like, okay, this is grain wood. You have to like really think about it and like, okay, I'm
Yeah,
hearing
yeah.
dry, like you have to specifically go through each sense. And then there's the other one where like
Mm-hmm.
you do the breathing square or something like that. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I like how Natalie's kind of like the brain that you develop if you go through therapy. That's like, hey, you're going through a moment right now. There's just some tools we've talked about to kind of get over. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like,
Yeah.
I really like how Natalie's kind of being that for her right now because she doesn't have that. And it would be nice if she went to therapy in the next season.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, talk to Doctor Strange. He's a doctor. He also understands magic. I feel
And
like
got like a shout out in this
he,
one too. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like this needs to happen. All of that I completely agree with, and I will start off by saying I love Natalie. I think she
Yes.
is such a great addition to this show. She's kind of like funny. She has some heart to her. She's very
Right.
like cute. She's very like a normal girl. Like there's so many parts of her where I'm like I love Natalie.
Yeah.
But there's one part at the end where I'm like, why? Because she's AI, where everybody's freaking out and they're trying to. All right, we're jumping to episode 6.
Jump
Everybody's freaking
around.
out,
Jump around.
and
Yeah.
she's about to like get taken out, and then she's like, "Riri, save me! Riri, save me!" I'm like, wouldn't the AI know that using those verbal commands and yelling at someone to save them is not a good way for them not to stress out? I was like,
Yeah.
listen, that's a bad AI right there.
It's a
The
bad
AI is
AI, but
stressing you out.
it's probably how her friend would react. And it's just like
Yeah,
so
probably
mounting because
for sure.
literally the thing is that she couldn't save her friend. So it's like, oh no, you're making it so much worse right now for her.
That's
Yeah.
true. I feel like they could have played it a little differently though. It just
Right.
felt
That makes
like
sense.
that was a little too human for an AI.
Well, do you think
That
it would have been better if she it probably would have separated? I think one of the things the show is trying to do is erase the line between AI and Natalie a lot of times. In
hmm
that moment, I think Natalie might say save me because it's irrational, it's very human of her. But I think the
yeah.
AI and what would have been a cool moment is like, no, Riri, keep going, use the magic and save your friends. And knowing that she's no
Right.
longer there anymore. And that's what Riri needed to hear at that moment. I think that probably would have been another route, not necessarily better or worse, but probably a good way to go.
I'm gonna be controversial. I think that would have been better because
Okay.
if the AI is meant to save her at the same,
Hmm.
I guess it's reading her brain waves, and she's like, "This is how my friend would respond." I don't know. It just seems
Yeah,
like
that's tricky.
counterproductive. But I like what you're saying because I think it still would have worked
Hmm.
if they did what you said, where she was like, "You know what? Don't worry about me. Like, you guys are gonna be fine. You're gonna be able to go out." And Ruby was like, "No, I'm gonna do everything I can to save you. Don't like, I just got you."
Yeah.
That to me would have worked better than her. Like, Riri, save me, Riri, save me. And she's like, I'm trying my best. You're stressing me out even more.
You know what? I'll add one more thing. It's not even really her friend, it's how she perceived her friend. So that's what she
Right.
thinks her friend would say to her. So it's like exactly
That's true.
in that
Yeah,
case,
that's
it's
true.
exactly right because she feels like she didn't save her
Yeah.
friend. So she's like, my friend was probably wanting me to save her and I failed her. So it's like
Mm,
amplifying this insecurity, this
that's
doubt or
true.
insecurity that she has basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that better. I think that makes that scene a little easier to swallow because I think that's the tricky thing with Natalie as a character
Hmm.
this season is like, is she more AI? Is she more just Riri's brainwaves, or is she a computer program? And
Right.
like I think in episode 2, it's literally called like Karma's glitch, and she even goes like, "You're my glitch, you're a glitch, but you're my glitch,"
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's like, all right, which is funny wording. I liked the pun there. I thought they did a good job with that, but
Hmm.
um, it makes it interesting. You know what I mean? Like because when you look back at like a Jarvis or a Friday or something like that, like they were meant to help Tony Stark. And even when Tony didn't want the information, like I don't ever want, it's like when Han Solo,
Yeah.
when
Never told me.
C3PO was telling Han, yeah,
Yeah.
never tell me the speed, right? Or never tell me the odds.
Some of the odds. Yeah.
Like, right? Like that's what Jarvis was doing for Tony Stark. And
Hmm.
then in this, it's like it wasn't always very helpful. Like it wasn't even I couldn't even see a lens where some of the information she was telling her would be helpful, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're right. I think it was the line from her mom I thought was very good where the mom's like you can't run away and she's like we can get away from them thinking we can get away from the guys who are trying to
Mm,
kill us. She's like no, you can't get away from you. And I think that when you put the idea onto Natalie because that is her
hmm
personification of her what she remembers of her friend, it is like I can't escape me. I have to address me first. And like that's actually the
Yeah.
boss that she's got to get through to be able to fight the hood and she's just trying to plow through it. It's like, no, 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 man, gotta go grind first so that you get down that boss so you can get to the next one. And she's just not doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think you said the right word, which makes me think about my next point where you said boss, right?
Yeah.
The one thing with this show for me, which is there's two sides to it. One is cool because you get a lot of action, right? There's a lot of
Yes.
people for her to beat up. There is a lot of hand to hand combat, which we kind of talked about earlier. We can bring it up
Before
again if you want
recording.
to.
No, let's cut.
What's
Let's talk
that?
about it right now. I think it's important to talk about it right now. Yeah, that way I don't have to edit it too hard.
Okay. Uh, okay, so do talk about it.
Oh, yeah, talk about it. Fuck, it's already messed up. But go ahead and just talk about it.
Okay,
Introduce
okay,
it
okay.
naturally, so it sounds natural. Yeah.
Okay. But I think that does bring me into the point where there was like so many people to fight, which was cool, but also was a little interesting because now the crew turns on her, right? They know she was kind
Yes.
of the rat that got the cousin killed. And there's this hand to hand combat moment where she's at White Castle. Yo, shout out to White Castle though. I love White Castle.
I've never
Is it
had
the
it
best
before,
fast food?
actually. Yeah.
What? Do you ever go to Costco and you can get the microwave burger?
Yeah, but I don't want to get the microwave. Does that taste the same as like in store or like in the restaurant?
I mean, I don't know if I had an amazing microwave when I was growing up, but those things did taste too different.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then when I
Maybe I'll
actually,
try it out.
although I will say, when I was in Michigan one time, and I like woke up so early because I was like, I didn't get to go to White Castle. I got up at like 6 a.m. to get to White Castle by 7
Mhm.
a.m. So I could get on a flight by 10 a.m. basically. And you know
Jesus.
what? Worth it because Harold and Kumar did it, and
Yeah.
I did, and I love that they're doing it because to me this feels very Midwest. This feels Chicago, Michigan, all those places. So I love that this fight
That's a good
takes
point.
place at a White Castle.
Yeah.
But she is going toe to toe with the brawlers.
Hmm.
And I'm very confused about, power. You talked about it before. You talked about power scaling. And I'm like,
Right.
wait, are they the most badass fighters? Are they not? How is Riri staying hand to hand? And you brought up a good point where it would have been better maybe if we saw Riri do something else.
Use this is a good moment to show that she's not just about the suit, that she's an expert engineer, much like the other iron armored heroes in the Marvel universe. So show that she's able to
Hmm.
kind of, rig a quick trap or make a gun out of this. She does eventually, but it should be a series of small ones. So there's like kind of the
Right.
accidental orb one because she had already made that. That they stepped on that.
Hmm.
That was cool. And so was the part where she hit Clown with that tank, but that Clown getting hit by the tank should have been the entire thing, as her doing things like that, and it would have been like, "That's right, she's a
Right.
genius." But instead, she was like actually fist to fist fighting and not losing necessarily to the brawlers who just got done
Right.
taking out a bunch of guards at that rich guy's house. So it was like, wait a minute, how did you guys just take out all those guards and are having a hard time? And by the way, they were one on one person each. They were separated against all those guards. Both of them
Right.
together were getting their ass handed by Riri. It is like that doesn't make
Hmm.
any sense. It's just to me, it's just like we
Sure.
need to have fights because like the ratio says the equation says fight goes here now, which is very Disney. Like we even called it like, oh,
Yeah.
Stain's kid's going to be the a bad guy in episode 5. Literally episode 5, Stain's kid, bad guy. It was like there's that
Right.
equation we all know too well. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I just kind of wish that fight, if we could put it that way, was to your point, like Home Alone, like a bunch of little
Yes.
traps all set up throughout it so that we could see how intelligent she is and how
Hmm.
capable she is, much like we saw in Iron Man 3, where he goes to the store and he buys all these little gadgets and then he's able to take out the compound by putting together these little items and stuff. Like that would have been
Yeah.
cool. But I mean, I guess they show her toughness in this, which, all right, cool. If that's what you want to show, they did it. I appreciate it. Which brings us again, we're back to bosses. Then Zeke Stain shows up
Zeke.
as
Yeah.
well. So it's like another boss for her to fight. And then we still have the Hood for the final fight. So
Yeah.
I think there was like almost too many villains that that yeah, it was just too much. Like the emotional stakes get taken away the more villains she's emotionally attached to. But
Right.
that's not the problem. The problem is we only have 2 episodes at this point. So now you have two
Yeah.
episodes to take care of all these villains, and that's not enough time. Like so, either give us more episodes or take away some of the emotional connection to some of the villains.
You've absolutely nailed it. This should have either been a movie or
Yeah.
10 episodes. This middle ground is like setting up so much promise and then like rushing to get it done. And it's, yeah, Stain should have been an entire thing.
Yeah.
Slowly turn him to your side instead of like, oh, he's behind a closet and I could just talk him through it. And it was like, that just kind of feels rushed. Like, luckily he's okay with that. Um, yeah, it just didn't
Yeah.
make much sense in the long stream. But again, like that fight with those two in that kitchen, I thought was quit good because it was like kind of this like
Yeah.
really super armored in a way with Zeke and her
Yeah.
going toe to toe. I thought it was cool, and then she had magic on her side, which is this whole new element that she's able to bring into the fight. So I thought that was well done, but
Yeah.
it could
Yeah.
have been better, of course.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's a cool character. I like what his character became. I didn't really
Yes.
care for him in the beginning. I thought it was convenient writing. It starts getting better around episode 5 for me, where
Hmm.
it's like he's trying to leave his dad's legacy behind, and also he's like an unwilling participant. Which is
Right.
we haven't really seen, like we've seen mind control, but we haven't seen complete like autonomy control before, in the MCU. So I
Yeah.
was like, oh, that's kind of
Good call.
something
Good call.
different.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, oh wow, that's kind of sick. And some of the banter was cool between Zeke and Parker,
Hmm.
but I will say I didn't really like when they were invading Parker's dad's house.
Oh, I
It felt
loved that. That felt
you
very cool.
did
I thought that
okay.
was, especially like Park Hood looked good in that suit. Like he was clean,
He did.
and I hear me out on this. I think he's going in invisible. I think he's not actually being seen by all the guards. I think it was just Zeke. Did you think that too?
Oh, oh, I didn't even think about that. Nah, I mean that's a cool idea. That makes more sense to me. But people are like coming up and attacking him and stuff. So maybe I
No,
don't know.
they
But
were only attacking Zeke.
okay, okay,
When I'm watching that, I
all
was
right,
like, why are they not going for him? He's the skinnier, guy of the two.
yeah.
And I noticed that they were only attacking Zeke. And even when he walked into the house,
Oh,
he's Zeke's still fighting them out on the roads. Like nobody's going towards the guy they're supposed to be there to protect. So I think
yeah,
they
you're
all
right.
like he's a distraction, and Zeke's going in invisible. Or I'm sorry,
Oh, okay.
Parker is.
Parker's, yeah,
So it
yeah,
would be cool if they kind of
yeah.
showed that, but I'm gonna headcanon that
That'll
in.
I'm gonna headcanon that too because that makes way more sense. There's just some parts in it to me that felt a little cheesy, but because you can tell they added a little electricity to show he's a little bit more powered or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Zeke. But yeah, in concept, it all had to come back to the dad, and I really did
Yeah.
want to know why the dad, like why he had this grudge against his dad. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like, what did
We
his
needed to
dad
know
do to
why he
him?
would have shaken the hand of Mephisto. Like this entire time,
Right.
we're like, why are you trying to expand? And I was wrong with the contracts. I'll say that I was right about the fifth episode thing, but I was wrong with the contracts. But we had to know why, and
Mm,
that's what it was. Is he wanted to counter his dad. He wanted to be more powerful than his dad and belittle him like he was, belittled and left behind as a kid at 12.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Which 12? That's dirty work
It's
right there. That's
insane. Yeah.
That's insane. I liked the dad kind of gave me Giancarlo Esposito vibes, you
Same.
know?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
which was like I
Yeah.
think that was a perfect kind of personality to put in the mix. So I thought that was
Yeah.
good. Yeah, but I think the going up to the dad, I still it just felt like people were just flying. It felt a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah,
too
yeah.
Agents of Shield for me, and
Yeah.
not enough what we've been getting recent. Like I would have taken even Captain America Brave New World. Like when Captain America Brave New World was kicking people, you're like, damn, that looked like it hurt, but not that they
Right.
were just like blah, like ridiculously flying.
Such a great point. Very Arrowverse too. Yeah, yeah. Like oh, I could
Yeah,
smell the CW on this. Yeah, I can get you.
just a little bit, right?
Right, right,
And
right.
but then when he gets in the room with his dad and he's holding a gun to his head, I was like, holy crap,
Great
that
dialogue.
great dog, and both of them
Yeah,
play it so well. Like one thing I will absolutely concede, like Anthony Ramos was one of my favorite parts throughout. Start to finish, I feel like he was menacing, he was
yeah.
scary, he was compelling for me.
Very
Maybe a little bit.
underutilized. Like that scene is the scene where you're really seeing him use his bullets.
Hmm.
Because that's a huge aspect of his character. We got more of the
Hmm.
invisibility. That's the other side of it. And then by the last fight, we actually got the demon takeover stuff. So that's kind
Hmm.
of like his toolkit. But like the bullet bending is freaking dope. And if this was a
Yeah, yeah,
movie or if we see him in the future, which of course they've definitely set up him coming back, we could get more
yeah.
bullet bending. That was really nice thing too. It's like that was our moment to really catch all that cool things that the hood can do.
Yeah, I agreed. Yeah, I did like all that part. So I think that worked out really, really well. Yeah, and then towards the end of that episode is where we bring in, and I'm blanking on the girl's name. She was pretty fun too. The magic girl that worked at the
Oh
standard
yeah.
candy shop.
I was trying
They
to figure out
start
if she's
drawing the
from the Marvel
runes.
comics and I couldn't find her.
I
So
believe
I think
she
she's a
is,
wholly
yeah.
new character. Oh, is
No,
she from
no.
the comics?
Yeah, I think she's from the comics, and she actually becomes a protege of Doctor Strange.
Okay. So then
So
she's from
I'm
Strange Academy then, probably.
possibly I didn't read Strange Academy, but
Okay.
could be because I did watch a video about her. There were some loose connections. I obviously don't remember that video,
Yeah.
but she is like from the comics and she does have an attachment to Strange. But one addition to her that I like at the end of the episode after they go through, well, another thing too, what when they're making the suit, that montage is sick. The way it's edited, the way it's
Yeah.
shot, the speed of Riri kind of building things, and the like time passage and people sleeping on the couch, and it's kind of like moving through the auto shop. All that was so
Hmm.
sick. It was really, really beautiful. But then the runes on the ground, and then the chaos magic starts coming in, and I was
Is it
like,
chaos
oh
magic?
yes,
Oh, it is actually.
I
No,
think
wait a minute.
so
No,
because
it's
it's red.
100% chaos magic because it's Mephisto.
True,
Doesn't he
true.
use
I just
chaos?
that
Go ahead, sir.
probably, but I all I was associating with, like, we know in Marvel that the color of the magic tells you what kind of magic it is, right?
Oh, good
And so
catch.
like
Yeah.
Doctor Strange is orange, so it's like that's their magic pulling from different universes. Chaos magic is associated with Wanda, which she says in WandaVision, and then Agatha has purple, which is just like to drain, right? So I assumed it was chaos magic. And then the runes on the ground are like red too, and I was like, whoa. So I liked that kind of connection to this, and also what's nice about them utilizing that in this episode is that it tells you that Riri will have to sacrifice something in order to use it because it always
Yes.
takes something away, right? And like not necessarily from her. Like again, if we want to compare it to something, Agatha's power drains from other people to give to her. Chaos magic takes something away from you, similar to the Darkhold, right? And the Darkholds are, and you see it like at the end of WandaVision, she loses her kids, um, just like this, she loses her AI.
So real quick, while you've been doing that, I've been looking, doing my
Yeah.
research.
Huh?
Zelma Staton is
So
her
that
comic
okay?
book name,
Yeah.
and in the comics, she does eventually join Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum,
Okay.
um, and she's infected by mind maggots,
Oh
which that kind of
yeah, that's
introduces
right.
her into like all this stuff. But yeah, she ends up
Which
like
they
working with
said
Wong
that
and stuff like that in the kitchen.
they
Did they
said
say mind
they
maggots?
remember. Yeah. So when I think it's in episode 4 when Riri and her mom go to the shop and she's like the mom's touching things and she opens it up and like one of the jars starts screaming. She's like, whoa, watch out, those are mind maggots.
Oh shit. Okay. So there must be something that
Yeah.
happens with Hood where like those because I kept thinking her name was BB. I thought they said her name was BB in this. Okay, maybe I'm.
Uh, I
I was
do not
jotting
know,
notes as
but
fast as I could during this. Who knows,
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so that's cool.
But
Yeah, we have another link to another, main Avenger. That's cool. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I was surprised that they didn't have who's the one. There was one witch at the end of Agatha that survives. I
I thought
thought
she'd
she
pop
was
up.
coming in.
Yeah. She's probably at
Yeah,
this point, we don't know the timeline, but at this point, she's probably still discovering her true power now that she
that's
has it
true.
back.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's true. This like Agatha might be happening around the same time. So you're right. You're right about
Yeah.
that.
Another big magic user that was name dropped a lot, and he was even kind of texting you joking about it, but Dormammu, which is Doctor Strange's bad guy from the first movie,
Hmm.
and funny enough, is the actual person that is made a deal with in the comics for the Hood. So it
Right.
is actually Dormammu in the comics, and I loved how um Zelma was saying, "Oh, I'm 50-50," and I knew it was like, "Oh, that other 50 is Mephisto," and then
Uh,
47 is like, "Oh, Mephisto got some more evidence," and so I was like, "Okay, that's cool."
yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. I thought it was like they tricked me. Even though I knew that the casting we had known for years that Sacha Baron
Right.
Cohen, I was like Dormammu, and you're like, yeah, he's not Dormammu. And I was like, what, really? I was surprised, honestly.
So
I for a second thought that they tricked
yeah.
me, and he was Dormammu.
So what the hell? Let's clarify what I was meant on the text because I was trying to kid with you. So I told you
Oh, okay.
like, oh man, Borat just saved the show for me, and I was
Yeah.
like, because I thought that was funny. And then
Yeah.
you were,
Would you?
and then you said you hadn't gotten to that episode yet. So I said,
Mhm.
"Oops, yeah, he's playing Dormammu." As in, they've been saying Dormammu the whole time. I didn't want to tell you that Mephisto was coming. So then that way you thought it was like, "Oh,
Uh,
okay, it's the Dormammu thing." I didn't want to like shake the Mephisto reveal because
oh, to me it
that was
was
what I
like,
meant.
oh, he's definitely not Dormammu. Then I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
oh, okay, he's Mephisto. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was like, wait. That did kind of confuse me for a second, but uh,
At a certain
hey,
point, you just
the
gotta like
reveal at the
let you
end.
finish the show and stop texting you.
No, it's all good. It's
Yeah.
all good. But I like that they tried. I like that there was an attempt at Dormammu to
Yeah, it's
give
a nice little hint
to
for us. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, referencing like
Yeah.
this he was actually attached to Dormammu in the comics. So I thought that was cool.
One of the things I want to applaud them for is there's this big debate. We've had it on Geek Freaks. We had it last week on Challenge Accepted. I've had it on TikTok and fighting people back and forth over this shit. The how close they stick to the comic books. I have two camps kind of rolling around in my mind, and I fade in and out of them. So forgive me if I count on myself here in a week. But I'm
Hmm.
like, either stick to the comic books and get as close as possible. But I don't mind you guys creating a fully new character if you're gonna deliver something original and interesting.
Yeah.
If you're just doing it for the sake of like, oh, we have to hit certain checkbox, or if you're doing it because you're like, what the heck, this will be cool for the younger kids, which is what the vibe I was getting. I felt like this was a very like Gen Z only thing, and I was like, come on, what about the rest of us who are Marvel fans for ages now? Anyways,
Hmm.
um, but the idea of making Ironheart more magic based, I was like, you know what? That actually really makes her different. There it is, than the other armored heroes, and is a cool way to be
True.
like, she's not just an Iron Man because she knows magic a little bit, or is magic empowered. So I thought like,
Hmm.
okay, I kind of, to me, it really reminds me of like my stance on Shang-Chi, where I was like, definitely not the Shang-Chi from the comic books, but shit, I like this new character they made up. This is cool. So
Yeah.
I'm a little softer on that actually. Have you changed your stance at all after this?
On like Marvel changing some things about some characters.
Are you more okay after watching all 6 episodes that they made such big changes, almost as in making an entirely new version of Ironheart, not necessarily just botching the adaptation?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I think that they wrapped it up. I don't think it works unless you have episode six. Let me just say
Oh,
that.
agreed. Fully,
Right?
fully.
So with episode six in mind, to me it worked out. It made sense, and they're dipping and weaving. Marvel is doing. That's the thing, as these actors age and as the MCU goes on,
Yeah.
they're going to have to alter and change some things. Look at
Yeah.
Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Even though like sure he was Black Panther comics, the situation was completely different on why they
Hmm.
had to change it for obvious reasons with Chadwick Boseman. So it's
Yeah.
like in real life, these actors can't play these characters forever, nor can they do all the things that their characters could do in the comics, maybe. So it's
Hmm.
like that doesn't really bother me. I think Shang-Chi when Shang-Chi was changed that much and it worked, I thought, man, they can do whatever they want now. I think that was
I felt the
the
same.
movie, yeah, where I was like, because in the comics he's just really good at fighting, and then he eventually learns how to like multiply himself. And he doesn't even have. He eventually gets the rings, but the rings are completely different in the comics, right? The
Yeah.
rings are more
They're
attuned to
literally
the
rings.
Infinity Stones. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're literally rings, and they have like different powers associated with each ring. So
Hmm.
I was like, oh, okay, they can do whatever they want as long as they
This was
have
like we
like
want to like
some
take
comic.
Aang the Last Airbender and use his fighting styles in the MCU. So I really truly
Yeah,
felt like they were just like, hey, the last episode of Avatar? Can we make that character? And the way he uses like
yeah,
earth bending and all the combinations of things, it's like that's Shang-Chi. So yeah, I think that
yeah,
was a
yeah.
cool move there.
The other thing too, I would say is like they're not. I mean, and even Iron Man wasn't Iron Man when they started, but like more people
True.
know Tony Stark Iron Man than they know Riri Williams Ironheart. More
Yes.
people know Spider Man than they know Shang Chi. So I think like the lower ring of the character, like the lower tier of them, the more they can kind of experiment. The closer you
Totally.
get to the top, the less you
Agatha,
can kind of
actually.
mess it up.
Yeah.
Agatha, 100%. That's a great example. Like Agatha, they're like, we're just going to make her do all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But what they did at the end was make her comic accurate again, which she
That's
does become a
true.
ghost.
That was really weird actually, because I remember texting Squeaks. I'm like, I can't fucking believe it. They went full comic book accurate at the end. Like in a way,
Yeah.
not me. I'm sure. I don't want to say full comic book accurate because I don't need people to push up their glasses at me. But like they
Right, right.
made that move
Pretty.
that you were like, they'll never do that story. No, they
Yeah,
did.
but yeah, but I just think at some point with these characters that people don't know, you have to just do their biggest stories.
Yeah.
And I will say, I do not know Riri at all. Like I've never picked up a Riri comic. Like I've
Hmm.
seen her kind of pass through certain Miss Marvel comics, but like I didn't know her. So I was kind of just game for whatever they were gonna throw at me, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think the magic side is interesting, but in a world where everybody knows about aliens now,
Hmm.
they know Doctor Strange exists, they know that, billionaires who are geniuses can make like full suits of armor. There's guys who are literally like considered gods on Earth. Why
Yeah.
can't technology and magic start merging? And I think they played it off really well because Riri's not super receptive to it in the beginning.
No.
She's just
Yeah.
like She's like, oh, do we really need to do this? All right, mom, I'm gonna let you take the wheel on this because this might be outside of my realm.
Yeah.
So I think it works.
Yeah. And then Zelma could be her kind of like Q for James Bond, right? I've been talking about a lot about Bond, but kind of like, hey, here's a new thing. I
Yeah,
learned a new
yeah.
spell that lets you go through walls now. And so like, it might be fun to
Mm,
kind of, who knows? Now they could kind of try. I have definitely cooled down since my anger that I had over the last few weeks, just kind of fighting with people. But so I'm definitely more
yeah, yeah.
perceptive right now, or more open to different things.
Yeah, for sure. No, I
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. How did you feel about like Team Ironheart at the end?
I'm okay. I mean, I'm like, you better go get your dad's car back because you just that. So hold on, let me correct myself. I'm sorry. That I faked myself out when the projection was used and like the armor was everywhere. I was like, that car was dope. You're not
I
gonna leave
know.
that suit behind. I forgot that she was faking out the hood and she just faked out me. That's right. That car's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Thank God. Like, for real, though, because we've seen her have the car, then we saw the car destroyed. Then we saw her getting back the car, then we saw the
Yeah,
car destroyed. I was like, you better not be blowing up that car again. I was
I
like,
know.
that's crazy.
I was
But,
so pissed when like that shot of like you see her kind of like hurt, and that's not fair to me. And now right away, like this is wrong, Frank. But like you see the like her hurt or whatever, and then they're zooming over the parts, and I'm like, no, that was a beautiful car. And like so the characters hurt, Frank. Pay attention to the main thing.
right, right.
But yeah,
I, yeah, I was like, how is she not dead? I was like, she was just straight to be
yeah, that's
dead if the
true.
whole suit exploded. But it did kind of get me, so I was like, I guess they're going with it there. Like
You know
that's
what
something.
got me? Like actually, like oh god, I'm getting emotional. Was that beautiful scene where Natalie projected her dad and her like doing the dance, and I was like,
That was good.
good storytelling right here, guys.
Yeah.
Because I often think like when I'm watching this, especially, would you take that deal? Would you want an AI that looks like somebody you lost? And like the immediate reaction is like, no, that's. But then it's like, that's
Yeah, it's
tempting.
weird.
That's unbelievably tempting.
Yeah, I I like that they went there. You're right.
Yeah,
Like that's a big swing in some ways because especially as AI gets better and gets
I know.
smarter and we're going to have everybody can have a projector. Like why wouldn't you just want a projection of a loved one that you lost?
Hmm.
That's a big move. I think exploring that in the MCU, because there's all kind of ethical dilemmas in that situation. So, yeah, you're right. But I did like that scene too. I thought it was very touching.
Tony Stark did the same thing in Civil War. I just thought about that. Remember how he's
With the
like at,
barf? Oh,
is that what
at
it's called?
MIT.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's at
Remember that's
MIT, which she probably saw. Oh my God, this is all opening up
yeah,
now
yeah.
because she was probably in
I
that
don't
room watching
yeah.
that projection thing. Oh boy, see, they're
No,
all connected.
yeah, yeah. I think it's been confirmed that she wasn't at the age where she could have been there yet.
Oh, okay,
But she could have been a recipient of the grant like Peter Parker was, right?
you're right,
But
right, right.
yeah, yeah, that's interesting. They did expand on that idea, which I think is very cool for the MCU, like expanding on the technology side even more. But
Frankly, I think we're like
that's gonna
5 years
be an
away
interesting
from it
line,
in like IRL. I think we're like five
probably.
years away. I mean, if that, really, frankly, because I just saw a
Yeah, I
thing
agree.
yesterday where somebody's like, "Oh, I uploaded a picture of my dog and had that recreate my dog in different poses," and I was like, that's tempting to do that with your dog that might have passed, but I was like, then it's not your
Right.
dog. But shit, it sure looks like him. That's tough. That's
Right.
tricky.
But it kind of fills that gap. Yeah, it's going to
Yeah.
be interesting. We're going to have a lot of ethical dilemmas. I think what Marvel's going to have to figure out, though, is now that we've gotten this show, we know that we're getting Vision Quest. And Vision
Yeah.
Quest is all about an AI that became sentient, that loved somebody, that lost them, that became a different version of themselves, then went on
Hmm.
a quest to figure themselves out now.
Yep.
And we know that we're getting James Spader, who played Ultron, back. This idea of AIs becoming sentient and are they alive, are they not, I think is going to be further explored in those shows. So it's like, I I think this show could actually do a lot of groundwork for future projects. And
Yeah.
one, I was thinking a ton about Mephisto and who he interacts with in the comics. One is Doctor Strange a lot. Two,
Hmm.
he's done Spider Man. Three, Doctor Doom is a big connection. Like Mephisto literally
Yes.
kidnaps Doctor Doom's mom, and thus this is why Doctor Doom goes on the journey he does to find a way into hell to find his mom's soul, and then he realizes he needs magic because technology isn't enough to get his mom back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so Robert Downey Jr. with Sacha Baron Cohen, after seeing him tonight in episode 6, that would be pretty tight.
Oh, he nailed it. Just to kind of touch on the comic book story before we dig into him a little bit, and I know that we don't want to talk all night about this, but um, you must read. If you guys are not like big comic readers, I'm telling you, you must read the Doctor Strange, Doctor Doom storyline. Very
Mm-hmm.
good, and I will really push the idea, like we heard in this one, magic has a cost, and you have to make deals, and there's a trade, and all this stuff like that. It's like so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
That final
yeah.
couple moments were like, damn it, how did you not say that? It's so good. But also he
Yeah.
he obviously has a lot of run-ins with Wanda, with her kids, so we could
Mm-hmm.
see some Scarlet Witch
That's
stuff with
true.
him in the future. And I think he's the big part of the penance stare. I went after I said that at one point, I wasn't totally sure on that, so he could lead to Ghost Rider as well. Which I think
Yeah.
we're due for that in the MCU myself, and I have a strong feeling old Nicolas Cage will take a check to pop up in Secret Wars, so I think we're gonna see him over there.
I'm still riding for Diego Luna. That's like I know everybody's fans of Johnny Blaze, but I am a Robbie Reyes fan all day. Like
Dude,
Robbie Reyes is my favorite Ghost Rider.
Diego Luna as literally anything he wants to be after
Yeah,
Andor,
yeah, yeah.
after playing on doing Jimmy Kimmel live for a
Oh
week,
wait,
anything
wait.
he
I
wants,
said
I'll do it.
no. I'm sorry. It's not Diego
You
Luna.
messed
It's
up,
the
but
guy. I did. It's the guy from The Last of Us
yeah, his brother.
who plays Tommy.
It plays
Yeah,
Tommy. Yeah.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
care
That
anymore.
guy.
I want Diego Luna to play it now. I don't care anymore.
Diego. Yeah, yeah, that'd be interesting, man. For real though, Diego Luna on anything, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was interesting. The best moments though, I think the attention from the overall show will be drawn to Sacha Baron Cohen though. Rightfully so, maybe unfairly to Dominique though.
Unfairly, I
I'll
think
be
is a good way to
honest.
put it. Like
Yeah.
he comes in to steal the show and successfully does that, and it's like that's tough. First
Mm-hmm.
off, he's just very charismatic, and he has I told you before he had the Kang at the end of season one of Loki thing where it's like, oh, I
Mm-hmm.
like Loki, I would love this entire show, but holy cow, who's this guy at the end? He definitely had that going on. Um, a couple key things. Did you catch the spoon part of it during the conversation?
They focused on it really heavy. What did you get from
I
that?
posted it on Thread, so check it out after this. You could see the reflection of actually Mephisto, not
Oh,
Sacha Baron
really?
Cohen, but like red Mephisto. And I even like
Oh,
I paused it, took a
wow.
picture of it on my TV, and it's posted now.
Oh,
Threads
good
has this new
catch,
spoiler
man.
thing. It's been a lot of fun, so I've been toying around with the spoiler thing. But yeah, it is really
Nice.
sick. Yes.
That's awesome,
Um,
man. That's cool.
yeah. And then
Uh,
he's making deals. So we're led to believe that she accepted that deal with Mephisto and will be under his control and straight up brought Natalie back, in the flesh. Which is
mm-hmm,
crazy.
mm-hmm. That's good. The devil's bargain, man. I like it. I
Yeah.
think that's a great choice. It gives her another dynamic. Um, yeah, yeah. Like seeing her fight against, the darker side of things. I think Anthony Ramos played that pretty good too, where he,
Yeah.
he was kind of a sympathetic bad guy for a while, and then the full evil takes over him. The ring has corrupted him, and now he's out for blood. I thought that was pretty sick. But last thing I want to ask you, actually, what
Okay.
about the suit? How did you feel about the suit?
I liked the final suit. I didn't care
You
for
did?
anything up to
Okay.
that point. What did you think of it?
I liked the suits going into the final suit. The final
Oh,
suit reminded me a little too much of Wakanda Forever.
it definitely had the shoulders from Wakanda Forever. You're right. But to me,
Yeah.
I took the whole like, oh, that's the hot rod thing that Tony would do, and also was very a
Mm.
distinctive look, and it kind of felt like an Elden Ring armor set almost in a way.
Oh
So I was like,
yeah,
I'm kind of like, and when you're talking about like, oh, we're gonna infuse magic on this, which I was really desperately hoping that like some runes would be burned into the suit, like that'd be sick to always have
yeah,
runes burned into it. Like, hell, what the hell? Let's fully go with it on her. That'd be cool. But yeah,
yeah.
but you didn't care for it, huh?
I like the coloring. I like the coloring pulled from
Color was
Mahara. I
sick.
thought that was sick. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I liked the suit that she had for most of the season that she was kind of sleeping in and everything. I
Yeah.
thought that was tough. This one was like, yeah, it still kind of gave me that little bit of that plasticky feel.
That's a good point. They called out Transformers, and I was like, "Oh man, that's real close to the
Yeah,
Power Rangers thing that we all joke about." Um,
yeah.
I've got a
True.
couple points. I got a couple points to make here. So, Riri is, I would say, a pretty good friend with the Queen of Wakanda, Shuri.
Mm,
And if Riri's able to bring back Natalie, she better not tell Shuri about that because
right.
there's no doubt she'd bring back T'Challa, and
Ooh, did
Marvel
not
can't
think
do that.
about that. Did
Yeah,
not think about that. Yeah.
that'll be
I don't,
interesting.
but also like, and there's no shade on Riri, but I don't think Shuri would go that path. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Shuri is a little bit more steadfast.
At the end of
Uh,
Wakanda Forever, yes. At the beginning of Wakanda Forever, she'd sign that damn contract. She'd shake that
that's
hand.
true. Yeah,
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 that's true.
absolutely, absolutely. But she makes peace with it, um, and they don't ever have to show it,
Hmm.
nor maybe could they, that unless it would be weird. But Shuri could always say, I could see him in the ancestors. I could see him
Yeah.
in the, you know what I mean? Like, so maybe Shuri has seen him or can see him that way.
It could be a possibility to get. Now I'm thinking like all the dead people we could bring back. But I'm like, obviously, you don't want to just straight up bring Tony Stark back with this. But who would sign a contract to bring
Right.
Killmonger back? Michael B. Jordan, yeah, or something like that. Like that would be kind of an interesting thing to toy
Yeah.
around with that idea.
I mean, there's ways that one. There was like that girl he was in love with. If she's still alive, like they could do it.
They
Where
could
you're just
totally do
like,
something like
I
that.
want it back. But there's a ton of characters. Yeah.
The last thing I want to make sure to bring up is what the new Avengers are missing is an Iron Man. Well, they have
Hmm.
Mr. Zeke out there that's looking for a gig. He could be their Iron Man for the Thunderbolts slash New Avengers.
Yeah,
That'd
yeah,
be cool.
definitely. So yeah, speaking of that, do you think Riri will be a champion or do you think she'll be an Avenger? Because
Champion.
yeah, you think so?
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
they
because
gotta do Young Avengers at some point. And so if they don't do Young Avengers,
yeah,
they'll probably do Champions, which I think is probably a better version. Or the
hmm
Outlaws, I think was even better than that, right? Was it called the Outlaws? With her,
yeah.
Miles, and Miss Marvel. I think that would
I
be even
think
better.
they're yeah. I don't think they're gonna call them the Young Avengers anymore. Like they're just.
Yeah.
I think there's the time has passed. Like
Yeah.
all the young kids or the like Haley Steinfeld's like married and like our age. Like she's not a
Right.
Young Avenger, you know.
Yeah, you see in
But
Sinners, you're like, that is not a kid anymore.
right, right. Yep, facts.
She's
Yeah.
awesome in that movie. Anyways, yeah,
Definitely, definitely. All right, yeah, I can see that. And they still have Don Cheadle, they still have Armor Wars and whatnot. And
yeah.
actually, in the original Secret Wars, he was Iron Man at that point.
Hmm.
So, yeah, Rhodey was Iron Man. So I think,
Right.
yeah, all right, about that. What about the end credit scene? What did it tell you?
It told us that we're gonna get more Hood, and he probably will be the thing that tells because Riri would not want to tell anybody else about Mephisto. He's probably
Hmm.
going to be the reason that Mephisto being around is leaked to the rest of the heroes on Earth.
Ooh.
You know,
I like that. Yeah, he's the reason that it's leaked. I like that. That's a good one. Yeah, I thought it was a little awkward, but I did like that he's like going to the one person he knows who has magic, and it's even cooler knowing that she has ties to Doctor Strange in the comics. So it's like,
yeah.
yeah, this could go up the food chain real fast.
Could we see a redemption arc? It is so MCU to do this. A redemption arc for the Hood, or should he stay a full-on bad guy?
No, I think we see it because he's kind of a anti-hero and he kind of goes either way depending on in the comics. Like he's been a good
Yeah.
guy before. I think
He's
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 even been an
helped. Yeah.
Avenger.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, so it's like I could see him being kind of a good guy, but I really liked Anthony Ramos playing into like he's kind of an evil dude, because
Yeah.
I don't see him that way in real life, but I think he delivered it. So I like
He's
him kind of.
always Hamilton to me. Like not Hamilton, but he's always that guy in Hamilton to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. But
My
he's so dope.
son. Na, 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 na. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he was
That's a
good.
banger playlist.
Hmm. Yeah, man.
Um, let's give us a grade. Let's give our stars out of this thing. Out of 5 stars, what do you think?
I feel like this thing was a wave. It was a wide it was a wild ride, and there's parts I thought were really cool, and there were some parts where I was like, I don't like that at all. I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5.
I think I'm comfortable with 3 out of 5, frankly. Yeah, I think that's probably a good
Yeah.
spot for it to sit. Um, Definitely moments I really liked. They had ILM do a lot of the CGI for this, and I think that worked out, except for
Hmm.
the invisibility stuff. But like the suits, which is really clearly where you'd want to put the money, I think all worked out well. The magic looked good. I think that there was a lot to take away from this that was good. Uh, I think the characters with more time to breathe, I would have liked them better. That really slowed me down, especially his crew. But yeah,
Hmm.
I think there's a lot to go from this that I think, especially with time, will be better. Yeah, it's definitely not the worst thing that Disney Plus has ever put out. So
No, no, for sure. Yeah, this isn't anywhere close to the bottom of the ring, but this definitely has the stink of the old regime on it.
yeah, it does.
And I feel like after this year, we turn the page away from that.
Hmm.
And don't get me wrong, there was things that I liked in the old regime. Like I don't know why everything didn't have WandaVision 9 episodes, or was it even
Yeah,
12? Like why didn't all of them? But like Falcon and
yeah.
Winter Soldier had 6. Yeah,
This
like
six
that
episode
should have
thing,
had
well,
way
luckily, I
more.
think we're past it. I think Born Again was kind of the testament to that. Um,
Definitely.
which I think had 9. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's not even like old and new regime. It's the Chapek regime. This little middle
Yeah.
ground, like we're super Disney Plus heavy. Go over on Geek Freaks if you guys want to hear me kind of go a little ranty on this, but yeah, I think we're kind of getting past that phase now. It's
Yeah.
nice.
It is. It's great. I mean, I'm very excited about the MCU's future. I thought Thunderbolts was fantastic. I think Fantastic Four is going to be fantastic. Pun
Yep.
aside, and I think that this gives me a lot more excitement for Doomsday, especially
Mhm.
seeing how Mephisto is going to show up with Robert Downey Jr. Like
Yeah,
that scene between Sacha Baron Cohen and Robert Downey Jr. is going to slap. Like that thing is going to be insane. That
that needs to be its
conversation.
own story, frankly, and yeah, that has to be its own movie post to Doomsday. That has to be.
I would love to, but I think they're gonna throw it in Doomsday. I think it's gonna be there.
That's too much, I think, for Doomsday, frankly. I personally, I think it'd be too much for it.
I think you could do it in a 15-minute like flashback. I think you could
Okay.
show you could show well, however he becomes Doctor Doom. Regardless, trying to find his mom and that Mephisto has the reins and that it will Tony Stark, who will never let anything go, or Victor Von Doom for that matter, will do anything to save his mom. And that conversation where it's like, I don't know what I have to do to beat you, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to get all the power in the entire world, and then I'm going to come back and get my mom's soul. And I think you can make a 10-minute to 15-minute scene that will tell you everything you need to know about Doctor Doom and make Mephisto absolutely terrifying.
I really like that. It takes away the aspects a little bit of Doctor Doom being a leader and like him wanting to protect Latveria as much as possible. And also kind of takes away the thing where he's like super against Fantastic Four, but it does give him a really cool motivation. And I do
Yeah,
respect the hell out of that.
definitely. Yeah, I mean, but those things are there in the comics too, right? Like he wants his mom's
Yeah.
soul. He still wants to rule Latveria because he thinks he's the only one that can do it, and then he still has a grudge against Reed.
Yeah, and the
So
love
he's
for
such a
Sue.
complex character.
He is, but
Yeah,
that's the thing I'm
he
saying is
is.
like the part with Mephisto is such a small slice of that big picture. Him versus
Right.
Fantastic Four is far bigger. Him and Latveria is far bigger. I would be surprised if they made that the crux of Doomsday, when I feel like that could be a really cool like if they were to start doing like Avengers Dark or like the darker Constantine type. I'm not saying Constantine as in DC, but you know what I'm saying. With
Yeah.
him, I think that would be a cool standalone movie with Doctor Strange too. Make that Doctor Strange
Yeah.
4. Make it tied to that if you wanted to. I think it'd be really cool.
I think we're getting dark. I actually think we're getting Dormammu and Doctor Strange 4.
I think so too. With Clea coming in, it has to
Yeah,
be at
yeah.
that point. For sure,
Yeah.
for sure. And this was kind of a nice little like reminder for everybody in the MCU. Like, by the way, Dormammu's still out there, nothing. Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah, yeah,
It's dope.
yeah. It's always great. I think Marvel is also realizing that they have all these characters still out there that they can
Yep.
use. I mean, look at we're getting Ultron back. We've said
Oh, I love
for
him.
the longest time, it's like you're killing off all your best characters. Like Claw, there's no way Claw should be dead. Like
Yeah,
Claw is a fantastic Black Panther villain, and also has fought the Fantastic Four and all those things. And then you're gonna take Andy Serkis and kill him off? Like what? That's
that was
crazy.
a waste. That was a big waste.
Hmm.
And Michael B. Jordan too. You know, it's like don't waste the good stuff. You know, but you know,
Yeah.
it is what it is. There's too many good movies and too many good stories, so we'll have to find a way.
Yep.
Let us know what you guys thought about Ironheart on our threads and everything else. Make sure you drop a 5-star review for Challenge Accepted on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We super appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Aloha.